unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Deontay Wilder possibly firing Mark Breland. We're gonna talk about this one. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash app, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using my link. It definitely helps the channel when you guys use that. You can get ESPN Plus, partner that with Disney Plus and Hulu, all three apps, one fee, $12.99 a month, and that helps my channel grow. So if you want to see us do more and continue growing, that's one way to help. Now let's talk about it. There's a lot of rumors and interviews and clips and people talking about Mark Breland, the possible, like, I'm going to say the possibility because I haven't seen the actual video of Wilder saying this, and that's what I usually like to go off, new media style. But there's a possibility that Mark Breland is out of camp. He might reconsider. Maybe it's not finalized, but there's a possibility. So this seems to be the hot topic, you know, and I ain't talking about the store, but this is the hot topic, and people are talking about it and giving their opinion. Some people feel, yo, why would you fire him? He saved your life. That's what people are saying. You know, other people understand it. Me, I told you in my past video regarding the subject, I truly understand both sides. And I want to spend a little bit of time in this video explaining that, the different sides. So to give you guys a bit more information as to what's going on. Long story short, it sounds like Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder feels almost betrayed by the decision from Mark Breland to throw in the towel. He is probably embarrassed that he lost. He knows he has equalizer power. So he feels that, yo, why did you do that? Why did you throw the towel in? And you know I got power to change the fight at any moment, and I got a big Alabama heart. Don't do me like that. Let me go out on my shield. Let me die in the ring. Let me, you know, get knocked out the old-fashioned way. Let the outcome be what the outcome's gonna be. You know, if I lose a decision, let me do that, but let it play out natural. You guys get me? In addition, here's the fact that some people don't know, and I know this because I know some people on Wilder's team. I won't say any names, but I heard about this before people were making articles. The bottom line is some people on Wilder's team have reported back to him that Wilder's, because obviously he can't see what's going on, so he has to have people, you know, his team look out for him. But it has been, you know, communicated to Wilder that Mark Breland kind of made a rash emotional decision that could have been instigated by people in the crowd, including guys like Anthony Durrell, who Anthony Durrell works, you know, Anthony Durrell's from Flint. The Kronk Gym is from Detroit. You see what I'm saying? And Anthony Durrell probably has a good relationship, you know, to Detroit people, Midwest people. So Javon Hill, Sugar Hill, the nephew of Emmanuel Stewart, has a good relationship with Anthony Durrell, and he's expressing his opinion, which he's entitled to. But if there's people in the crowd and you're kind of like looking back, it's you know what it like is. I'll give you guys a great analogy. It's like The Price is Right. When you're watching you're the next contestant on The Price is Right. Did it do? And then they finally get down, and you have to guess the prices on the food items to win the cruise or the car or whatever. And they were like, how much for these canned goods? Is it cheaper or lower than this, you know? And then you say lower. And then like, oh, you're correct. How much for this vacuum? Is it $350 higher or lower, you know, and you got to do all this get. But if you watch all those Price is Right games, a lot of times you'll hear people chanting to the crowd because, you know, this is accepted on that particular game show, and they're chanting how they should wager. They're like, how much do you want to wager? $1, you know, and you hear people on the various Price is Right games yelling out what they should do in the crowd. The person who has the option to actually wager what they want to or pick what they want to, sometimes you see them looking at the crowd and kind of influence. So long story short, you know, I think that's a pretty good analogy if you watch game shows to know what I'm talking about. That's basically what my intel and my source, you know, who's close to the situation, had really told me. And they told me this before the articles came out with the suit weighed me down and all this stuff. This is what my source had told me. Is like the decision was like, you know, kind of an emotional one that was instigated by people in the crowd saying, hey, man, just end it. This isn't looking bad for Wilder. What looking bad for Wilder? So that's where this whole thing is. So that's why I said a decision like this is a bit above my pay grade. That's why I told you in my past video regarding this situation, I truly see both sides because there, you know, it's like the Nas song. He said, who's the best? Nas, Pac, or Big? Ain't no best. North, south, east, west. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say some people like Biggie, some people like Pac, some people like Nas or Jay. You know what I mean? Some people want to go Rakim or Ice Cube. There ain't no like right answer. Biggie is not better than Pac, vice versa. Pac is not better than Biggie because it's subjective, and a decision to stop it at that given moment, it was looking bad. You know, it was looking bad. But Wilder feels like, to my understanding, we went over this. All of the people on my team, we have a close knit. It's the same people. Like if you look at Wilder's team, he probably flies in new sparring partners, but a lot of the people he works with are recurring people. You know, like Malik Scott's always in camp with him, JD's, Mark Breland. You know, he has a lot of the same guys. So it's a close knit group. Wilder's, you know, he keeps his circle tight. So Wilder's mind, he's just like, man, we went over this. What are you doing? I told you there would be consequences if anybody does that to me, because don't do that. And I know fighters personally who have told me that too. They're like, nah, don't, you know, I'd be mad. Like we watching a fight and they'd be like, nah, I'd be mad if my corner threw in the towel right there, because these guys are true fighters. Now, that's one aspect of it. So I think ultimately Wilder feels like you went against code, you know, you went against the grain when we already discussed this scenario happening in the career, what my wishes were and how I would like my team to proceed with this. Just let it play out naturally. And if it has to get stopped, let the ref do it. Don't have it be my team. You know, like my team is seeing, not seeing. And Wilder feels like, yo, I'm from Alabama. I got this crazy heart. I've probably been knocked out before in the amateurs because he started boxing late. I've lost before. Don't do me like that. Let me go on my shield. Plus, I got equalizer power. So if I would have got my legs back, would have Fury started fading from trying to bully him. So now it just becomes a big what if. So that's one angle of it. And I'm just going to give you guys both angles. Wilder feels like the decision was rash and emotional. One that was an emotional one. Plus, there was some kind of unspoken, you know, publicly pact to not engage in that behavior and allow his fight to ever end like that, you know? And again, on top of that, feeling like Mark Breland's decision was instigated or coerced by people in the crowd. People who, and on top of that, some of the people who were doing it were people from Detroit that are, you know, affiliated with Javen Hill, Sugar Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like fighters that are trained by him. Or so to Wilder, he's processing just losing his WBC title. You know, he has to come with the realization that he can't do the 50-0, beat Mayweather's record now because he has a loss, etc. So he's just trying to process everything. And I think, you know, sometimes people lash out. He just feels like betrayed by the situation. That's my understanding of the situation. He's like, man, you're going to let people in the crowd, like, you know, pump your head up to go against what we talked about. And then they friends with the ops. Tyson Fury's being trained by Sugar Hill. and this was your decision. So you went against code. You went against our, unspoken rule if this ever would have happened, and you did it kind of listening to people that ain't part of our situation, in terms of like our close-knit group. It wasn't like JD's told you. And then on top of that, JD's kind of threw him under the bus and said, yeah, he shouldn't have did that. Let Wilder's a savage. I wouldn't have did that. I don't know why Breland did that. So I think Wilder being such an aggressive male, like, alpha male, he looked at it as almost like a weakness. So you guys, I'm trying to make this the best way so you guys can understand it. He's looking at it as like, bro, you on the team, you've been on the team. That was a weak moment you had, so he's looking at a sign of weakness. You listening to people in the crowd over what I've directly told you. That's how he, like, a lot of people are blowing this up. Oh, he saved your life. But on the flip side, I'm a humanitarian. I want to see people prosper. I want to see people flourish. So I do want to see fighters live to fight another day. Me personally, I didn't have a problem with the stoppage, but again, I'm not part of Wilder's team. I'm just from the outside looking in. I didn't know what was going on. So when he explains it, I can understand that side. But just from looking at it, I'm assuming I'm looking at it like everyone else. He's spilling about. He looks like he's on a boat with turbulence. He can't get his balance, But now when Wilder is expressing kind of what, like, under the hood stuff, like, then I can understand it. But from an aspect of protecting the fighter, I get that. I understand if we have one death in boxing, that's too many. Losing Patrick Day, Maxim Dedashev, people becoming vegetables. Wilder got 8 kids. Nobody wants to see him end up like Magomed Abdusalamov, or Pritchard Colon, where he can't even compete anymore. So I get that. But I think Wilder's like, man, I'm good. I knew in my head I was good. I was trying to get my legs up under me, and you robbed me of the opportunity to go out the warrior way. And he's like, I don't care how bad it looks to people, but I know it was in my heart and I know it's in my mind, and I have the power to reverse it. And that is something that should be considered, just based on the fact of Wilder's he's not like Paulie Malignaggi, where he can't get himself out of sticky situations. Wilder also believes he was more buzzed and hurt and in more trouble versus Luis Ortiz, and he overcame that. So he's like, you being on my team and witnessing that, and how I came back and bounced back and then dropped Luis Ortiz an additional 2-3 times for a climactic, dramatic stoppage. What I'm capable of. Why do that? You've even seen it with like Anthony Joshua. Klitschko had him badly hurt, and then he went several rounds where he had to just kind of regroup, and then he finally was able to start putting punches together, and he caught Klitschko with a nasty ass uppercut. Boom. And then he went in for the kill and the finish. So I can understand both ways, because I know a lot of fighters personally, and I can understand it, like, the human, compassionate, humanitarian, live to fight another day, son. Rest in peace to John Witherspoon. Man, put the gun down. Live to fight another day. So I get both sides. So I wanted to give you guys a comprehensive thoughts as to what's going on, because it's like big fights like this, you got trolls, you got racists, you got a bunch of people, and you got people saying a bunch of like lunacy and jumping in the mix, and Wilder was getting murdered, saying all this extreme shit. So that's what's going on. I don't know what's decided. Best of luck to Deontay Wilder and Mark Breland. Hopefully they can reach an agreement, or, I wish well for everybody in this situation. But that's what's going on. Let me know what you guys think. There's no right or wrong here, especially when you have, because I know for me, if I told my team, if X, Y, and Z happens, do. Like, okay, here's an example. I'm gonna give you all a perfect example, and I think it's the best place to leave. Like, if somebody die and it says donate my brain and my organs to science, like Aaron Hernandez, right? And he says donate my brain so they could do CTE research, and then the family's like, no, we want to cremate him. We don't want to do that. That's a similar situation. This man when he was here to speak for himself, he asked you, in the event that I do, make sure this happens. Donate my organs to science. Make sure they get my brain. You know, that's why he hung himself, and, you know, he didn't do something like, you know, stab his brain or try to, you know, get some makeshift gun or something, you know, make sure it run out so he got shot by the cops because Aaron Hernandez wanted to donate his brain for research. And Junior Seau too, you know, two people who have done that, like, you know, committed, you know what, I don't want to say it on my channel, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So it becomes a situation like that. Do you do your own, like, emotion and selfish, like, oh no, I want to earn and you know, I want the cremated ashes, I want to spread the ashes in the ocean? Or do you listen to what they said, you know, when they were there to say it? So I see both sides of it. Wilder has a big family, so you're trying to protect his investment when he can't, but he told you what he wanted to do, so he feels slighted. And he feels you listen to, like, the ops and people who are closer to that situation than your situation, so he kind of feels like you knew better. That's what it is. Hopefully it's all patched out. We should get Wilder Fury 3. He said he's exercising the rematch clause. That is the ego breakdown. We working.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.